Fair fucking play, Manchester City. Fair play, because I did not expect that. I really didn't. I was worried for City. I was. I thought that this fixture was really deadly for them, and they do have a good record against Newcastle at the Etihad. I mean, I'm looking at the head-to-head. You know, they beat them 2-0 in the FA Cup last time. They beat them, what, 1-0 in the Premier League. They've beaten them 2-0, 5-0. Yeah, they do have joy against Newcastle. I don't know the last time Newcastle even got a result there. I'm actually looking through it. I cannot see even a draw. The last time they got a result was in 2014 when they won. Unless I'm blind and I missed something. But yeah, fair play. Fair play, because this is probably one of the biggest wins that they'll get this season. For me, City had to win this game because it's at home against a top four rival, and they're now sitting in fourth. You know, I know their season hasn't been, a desirable one. You know, they've been pretty shit for a lot of the season. Would I say that they've been the fourth best team in the league this season? I probably wouldn't. But I mean, this was a big, big statement win for Manchester City. I'll talk about it from a City perspective, and then we'll just look at what went wrong for Newcastle. But I mean, the new signings were the main story today. That's what I have to say. The new signings were the main story, and we obviously first up we got to talk about Marmoush, man of the match, hat-trick inside 32 minutes. He's exactly what they've needed for that attack. Exactly what they have needed. You know, there's been a lot of people saying that, oh, it's not a good signing. City have just signed someone off a purple patch. He's a quality player. He is. And Arsenal, why didn't you go even try? You know, I don't want to talk about Arsenal in this game. I want to just talk about this game for what it was. Because, yeah, Marmoush was easily the best player of the pitch. I mean, he took his goals pretty well. The first one was just a nice chip finish sort of over the keeper. Pretty easy goal. I did notice for the first one, and I'll talk about Haaland, because I honestly thought this is going to go down as one of Haaland's most underrated games. And then the other two goals finished well. I thought Newcastle was shambolic defensively, and I'll sort of get into Newcastle. As I just mentioned before, I'll get into Newcastle later. But yeah, Marmoush was really a big one. Another contender for man of the match I thought was Nico Gonzalez. Another new signing. We saw three new signings start for City. Kusanov, Gonzalez, and Marmoush. And I think all three of them shine today. I mean, Kusanov, he didn't really have a whole lot to do, but I'm just looking at the stats now. He had 3 passes into the final third. You know, 5 clearances. He was winning a decent amount of his duels, especially in the air. Committed the 2 fouls, but yeah, I thought he had a really good game. In Gonzalez and Marmoush is exactly what City have been missing. Exactly what they've been missing. And it's legs. It's legs, because I think that Gundogan performance as well, it's because you've got a player like Gonzalez in the team. You know, Gonzalez, he was doing a lot of running. He was covering a lot of ground. He made over 100 passes as well. He was just really acting. He's the closest thing City have right now to Rodri. Do I think he's anywhere near Rodri? No. But I mean, I think because they had someone like Gonzalez who's got the legs, it's just taken so much of the responsibility off the rest of the team. And you look at players like Gundogan and Foden, 2 players that have been struggling this season because they haven't had that workhorse in the midfield. It's similar to Arsenal. You know. Declan Rice allows Partey to really sit on the ball and really focus on playing the team forward because he's such a workhorse. And Gonzalez, that was one of Foden's best games I've seen him play. I've been really, really critical on Foden. I think that's one of the best games I've seen Foden play this season. I mean, he only had like the one shot that was blocked, but like, I thought he was really linking up the play well. And Gundogan obviously got that assist. I think was it for the second goal? I can't remember. But yeah, he had an excellent performance, and I think it was massively because of Gonzalez. Savinho again, a great game. He has been good for City. It's just the finishing. I know that there was one moment where he cut in and he had a good chance to sort of whip it to the bottom corner, and he just sends it straight to the keeper. It's just his shooting. Like, his shooting is the only problem. He's quick. He can get past players. He can whip crosses in well. It was a good ball from Edison as well for the first goal. I will say that. Defensively, I mean, they did their job, kept a clean sheet. City have been shambolic defensively. I was worried about Rico Lewis at right back from a City perspective, but Gordon wasn't really able to impact the game at all. I mean, I feel like there are a couple moments where maybe he looked like he was going to create something. City dealt with Isak so well. There's been a lot of talk about, Isak versus Haaland lately, who's the best striker in the Prem. And Haaland was easily the better of the two today. I thought he was phenomenal. Honestly, for the sake of Haaland, I almost didn't want him to score because if Haaland had scored, people would have talked about Haaland and just looked at the goal. Like say he gets like a really tough finish or he scores a nice goal. People would have said, "Oh, that was a great finish from Haaland." But from a Haaland perspective, I think it was almost better for his I don't know. It's sort of better for his I don't know. I'm mind blanking, but I feel like people's reaction to this Haaland performance, it's almost better for him that he didn't score because his centre forward play today was fucking immaculate. Like I noticed with the first goal, Haaland was sitting at the halfway line, and I noticed Dan Burn, his assignment was just to track Haaland because the way that you can stop Haaland is just have someone sticking to him. Just have someone sticking to Haaland. Don't let him get any runs forward. Don't let him attack the ball. And Dan Burn is a really good aerial threat. He can neutralize a front line. That's one thing he's good at. He's not amazing on the ball. He's not got incredible recovery pace or anything like that. But if he sticks to an opponent, he does well. And I didn't think that. And I thought Haaland dealt with him really well. I did because for that first goal, he had to track Haaland all the way up to the halfway line. That gave Mamouche so much space that he was just able to chip the keeper and put City 1-0 up. There were also other moments where he picked up the ball, laid it off to people. I thought it was a really, really underrated Haaland performance. And it was similar to the one against Chelsea. But again, against Chelsea, he got the goal. So, who cares? He got the goal, so no one's going to talk about the rest of his game. But I think games like this is why Haaland is so good. Games like this where we actually get to see Haaland showcase everything that he does well. And it's because I thought Newcastle were a little bit too ambitious. I felt that they should have played a little bit more defensive. Dan Burn was really the only one tracking him. I mean, Trippier for that goal. Oh my god, what is he doing? Actually, what is he doing? He had a shocker. I was really confused with both right back decisions. I thought, I mean, did City have any defenders on the bench? All right, well they literally didn't have any defenders on the bench other than Vitor Reis. So maybe if they started Vitor Reis right back or Kusanov right back and Vitor Reis centre back, then maybe they could have avoided playing Rico Lewis there. But in the end, it didn't matter because Rico Lewis didn't really have a whole lot to do. But then for Newcastle, I don't know why they didn't start Livramento. Because I actually thought Livramento was quite good. When he came on, Newcastle didn't concede another goal. Well, they did. They conceded the fucking McAtee one. I completely forgot. And also, yeah, big up to James McAtee as well. I think that was that his first Premier League goal? No, I feel like he already has one. Maybe he scored against Ipswich or something. It was the first time I've watched him score a goal in the Prem. So I mean that's a nice little player that City have there. Are they going to keep him? Are they going to sell him? But let's talk about Newcastle because I've sort of said everything I want to say about City. Let's talk about Newcastle because they were they were not very good. I'll start with the goalkeeper. I mean, should he maybe save any of those? I don't know. I mean, how many saves did he make on the day? 3, and he conceded 4 goals. So really, not great from him. I thought Dan Burn was just getting absolutely toyed with Haaland. Haaland was cooking him. And that's really the only concern for City, is that Haaland came off injured. Hopefully for them, he's fit because, excuse me, I don't know what City would do. If they had lost Haaland, maybe they, I don't know, maybe they put a Marmouche up front and then play Doku on the left. Do they maybe, I don't know, play Foden as a false 9 again, or De Bruyne with De Bruyne in the 10? I don't know. But they don't have another striker. That's one thing that City don't have, unless you play Marmouche there. But I don't really think Marmouche is a striker. if anything, he's either a winger or he's like a second striker. Like I was. One thing that I am interested to see with City is maybe if they end up trusting Nico Gonzalez like a lot, and maybe they don't play Gundogan, they invert Rico Lewis into midfield next to Gonzalez, have Gonzalez be like the main midfield player, sort of like a Rodri. I feel like long term we're gonna see Marmoush play more as like a second striker. Like I feel like he'll play next to Foden, and they'll put Doku left. I feel like that like long term that's what Pep wants. I don't think that the left wing is like the position that Pep wants to play him. But I mean, it worked today. He was phenomenal there. But let's talk about. But yeah, let's get back to Newcastle. I'm a massive Lewis Hall fan. I rate him so highly. He got cooked today. Savinho absolutely destroyed him. But I think the main problem for Newcastle wasn't even that defence, it was the midfield, and it was Joe Willock. I mean, there's a reason that Joe Willock got hooked at half time. Joe Willock and Trippier, because they were easily the two worst players on the pitch. I, I'd, I'm worried for Newcastle's midfield without Joe Linton, because they do actually have a little bit of depth there with Lewis Miley, with Longstaff. They do have like 6 midfielders, but I don't think either of those 3 are good enough. I think when they're missing Joe Linton, today's really showed how good Joe Linton is for Newcastle, because he's just a workhorse. Like you've got you've got Tonali and Guimaraes, who are sort of the ones that are sort of playing the ball forward, and I didn't think either of them had a good game at all. But you're missing Joe Linton, that defensive workhorse who just, yeah, it's the exact same thing I said with Rice. You need that if you're gonna have these pass first sort of attacking midfielders that are gonna set up the attack. You need to have that workhorse like Joe Linton, and that's why the Newcastle midfield works so well together, because they all have their roles and they all play them exceptionally. Yeah, Jacob Murphy got absolutely pocketed by Gvardiol. Isak got dealt well with by Krusenov and Stones. He did have a chance, I remember, at 2-0, I thought. And then, I mean, Gordon just wasn't really able to have much of an effect on the game. It was a bad day out for Newcastle in a game where, look, I thought Newcastle would have taken a draw, maybe even a narrow defeat, but a 4-0 loss against a top 4 rival. I mean, let me think about Newcastle's record against like the top teams. I mean, they beat Nottingham Forest, I remember that. They do well against Arsenal, they drew to Liverpool, got smashed by City at the Etihad, drew to them at home. I cannot remember what happened when they played Bournemouth. Oh no, yeah, they lost 4-1. They got fucking battered at St James's Park. But I don't remember what happened in the first fixture. I think they won. And then Chelsea, I think they lost, didn't they? They beat them in the cup and then lost them in the league. So they've got a pretty mixed record against the teams above them. Look, I do still think Newcastle are a great team. I mean, they're in the top 4 race for a reason. I mean, they're still only, 3 points behind City. Like, if they won today, they would go from 7th to 4th. Like, it's so close. From, like, Arsenal, it's good that we are 6 points clear in 2nd. Like, that's great. But from 3rd down to 7th, there's only 6 points. That's 2 games. You know, you could see that change a lot. And with Nottingham Forest losing today, you know, I know that we play Nottingham Forest soon. So if we manage to go to the City ground and win, then we could see Arsenal, you know, just stay in 2nd. But I do think that City will get Champions League football now. I feel like this top 4 is gonna stay the way it is, if I'm being honest. The only thing I'll show the table, because I'm literally looking at the table, but I'm not showing you. I think that this top 4 stays the same, but I think Newcastle move up to 5th and Chelsea finish 6th or 7th, because I'm not impressed by Chelsea. I talked about the Chelsea game. But I said in my Arsenal review that I would just sort of go through the other fixtures and just have because I talked about this game because this is the game that I actually watched. I don't want to sit here and talk about a game if I didn't watch it. But we'll just briefly go over these results. I mean, Villa dropping points to 10-man Ipswich. That's just what Villa do. You know, they get a big FA Cup win against Spurs last weekend, and then they just go and drop points to Ipswich. They literally have failed to beat Ipswich home and away this season, and they were up against 10-man Ipswich Town at home for an entire half, and they were only able to equalise. So yeah, really not a good result for Villa. They're now 8th in the table, I think. I mean, I didn't even really mention the ninth. I didn't even really mention them in that top four battle. I don't think they're going to get top four. Just having Champions League football has really fucked them over. You got Fulham getting a big win against Forest. I actually did expect Fulham to get a result. I think I went 2-2, but obviously that is a very good result for Fulham, beating Nottingham Forest. It's a good it's a better result for Arsenal. I felt like when Emma Smith Rowe, when I saw that Emma Smith Rowe scored that goal, I felt like it was, him helping out Arsenal and putting us 6 points clear in second. Bournemouth getting a very expected away win against Southampton. They're just a fucking joke. Bournemouth, they're incredible. Brentford beating West Ham, that was unexpected. I thought West Ham would win. I don't know. I feel like it's been a mixed bag under Potter. If any West Ham fans are watching this, tell me what you think about their time under Potter and Everton, bro. Everton, I think they're up to fucking 13th in the table now. They're above Manchester United and Spurs. They're level on points with Crystal Palace, and I've actually been a big Palace fan. I think they've just been unlucky at times, but yeah, I mean, not a good result for Palace. Great away win for Everton. Holy shit. But yeah, if you're looking at the table, the relegation scrap is becoming very clear. 2 points separating Wolves, Ipswich and Leicester. I do think Wolves scrape it this year, but next season, if you look at how good Leeds are, I think next season Wolves go down, if I'm being honest. It's just sort of these three, because Southampton are fucked. And then you got West Ham and Spurs, United, and it's like sort of these sort of five that I see them interchanging a lot. There's only three. There's only like a one game separating them. Obviously, you do have Tottenham and United facing off for Super Sunday. I feel like Tottenham would win that, if I'm being honest. And then sort of look at that mid-table area. I mean, Brighton in 10th, really not ideal for them. The amount of money they've spent, they should be doing better. Good win for Brentford, puts them up to 11th. They haven't really had much joy away from home. Like if I look at the away table, yeah, they're down near the bottom. They're down near the bottom. Look at City. Oh my god. But yeah, look, this has been a really interesting season. It has. I'll talk about I'll watch the Tottenham United game, and I'll also sort of briefly discuss Liverpool's win, because I'm not gonna watch it. I won't be able to watch it. But yeah, Man City, props to you. You got a massive win that has you in the top four. Will you stay there? I don't know. I don't really want to I feel like I keep changing my mind every week, because there's just so much uncertainty with this season. The one thing I know for certain is Chelsea will not be playing Champions League football next season. I'll keep saying it every week, because it's not going to happen. And yeah, it's not good for them. But Newcastle, look, it was a very poor performance, probably a worst game of the season. But I mean, you're still a great team. You're through to a cup final. You're competing for Champions League football. I don't really think Newcastle fans overall, when talking about their season, should have any complaints. It's more just the game itself. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace.